Folks, I'm going to go into part 3 of what's been on my mind today. I just finished talking about that there's a shifting going on in the spirit. This is not just a new thing. It's not a one-time thing. I believe it's something that's happened in generations. But I do think there's significant times that happen that have been prophesied. I do think that there's something going on today. We don't see it, but we feel it like the wind, and we see effects of it by the wind. And I talked about how that wind sometimes can knock dead limbs out of trees, or you can the trash off your porch. It has a purging component to it. Wind does. And I know on the day of Pentecost, the Holy Ghost came in like a rushing mighty wind. And so we know God is the Spirit is compared to wind in several places. But I want to talk just a minute about that purging that is happening, that it happens. It's pruning. Gary helps do some tree service, and there's a pruning that's necessary. And the Bible talks about it. He talks about having fruit, but then it talks about that if you would let God purge you of some stuff, that you'd have more fruit. And another place, he even says that you'd have much fruit. And so he even said when a seed falls to the ground, if it doesn't fall to the ground and die, if it's not buried in the ground, then it just remains alone. But when it goes through that dying process in the ground, it says it will yield much fruit. So there's some dying going on. There's some shaking off some stuff that's probably already dead. It needs to go. It just needs to go. And I believe that's what's happening today. I think God is correcting some sites. He's aligning us with some things that may have need to be taken off a long time ago. I talked in one of my deals, I believe, I talked about what the Lord had spoke to me a few months ago about what I really heard in the Spirit is that we have leaning towers of Pisa. And when I heard that, it was strange, but I immediately knew that he was talking about beliefs or doctrines that we have built upon that they look fine up close. But if you get back and you look at it, you're like, something just ain't right with that. Wow. And so I decided to look up the Tower of Pisa, and I made an assumption in my mind. I thought how the thing got off was probably there was one of the builders that was putting the bricks in there, and he just got it just a tad off, just a little off. And he couldn't tell. But it was off, but then the next brick come in, and it fit. He made it fit. And next brick fit, and next brick fit. And so they just continued building. So I thought, well, somebody got off, and it just took a wrong turn. But when I Googled it and looked it up, I found out that that's not the truth. That the reason why that tower leans today is it was a foundational issue. The foundation was just a little off. It wasn't off enough for them to really be able to see too much with their natural eye, but it was off. And because of that, and all the work that was done into it, all the bricks that fit, it still was off in the end. And I believe that's what's happened over the generations. I think there's some things that got started on some wrong foundations. There's some beliefs that were just off. Somebody come up with it. It sounded right. Most of it was right. But the reality is it was a little off. And we built generations on it. And now we're looking at some stuff and go, something's off. I'll tell you who's looking at it. Is this generation. These kids that go off to college, and we think they know everything about Christianity, and they're like, what? They get in a science class, and all of a sudden they're like, well, I don't know about that. That don't fit. Okay. The reality is there's some things off. Because I want to tell you this. When I took science in college, I took about every science class you could take. I got so addicted to taking anatomy and taking biology, botany, zoology. I started studying about nature and got just enthralled with it. Because the more I saw the creations of this world, the more I saw God. I'm like, oh my goodness. Just look at the bumblebee. There has to be a God. I mean, there's just so many levels to it. But the thing is that they look at us and go, Mom, there's just some things that don't fit. It doesn't fit with the character of God that you said he was. And there's so many things we avoided because we really didn't know the answer. Instead of just saying, I don't know the answer. You know what I'm saying? Is I want to just find the answer. I believe it's true when he said, you want wisdom, ask it, and I'll give it to you. I believe he said it's the honor of kings to search out a matter. I think it's true when he said, if you'll seek, you shall find. And when I have one of these college kids or one of these people come and start talking to me and asking me some hard questions, you know what I say right off the bat? Like, I am so glad you're asking those questions. Because you know what that tells me about you? That tells me you're a seeker and you're going to find. I don't care where you're seeking today. I've had kids that was seeking God from the dark side. They were just calling themselves a Satanist, trying to find some kind of power. I'm like, son, you're not going to find it there, but you might have to walk that road to figure that out. But the truth is, you keep seeking after God and you will find him. He said, just feel after him. He's not far from any of us. He's not trying to hide himself from us. If there's anything hidden, it's been hidden for us. Today, I believe there's some hidden things being unearthed by the shaking, by the winds of this world that's blowing. I think there's some things being unearthed that's going to help us to get this thing a little straighter. But it takes bravery to do it. So we see you again. We'll continue this thing.